The red dust of planet Zephyria swirled around Jake Miller's boots as he moved through the rocky canyon. His rifle felt heavy in his hands, but he kept it ready. The war with the bug-like aliens called the HFY had been going on for 3 years now. Jake and his squad were sent to this dead planet to look for enemy bases. "Sergeant Miller, we got something strange up ahead," called out Private Danny Cox from behind a large boulder. His voice sounded worried through the radio. Jake jogged over to where Danny was hiding. The other 2 members of his squad, Maria Santos and Ben Clark, were already there. They all stared at something that made no sense. A silver ship sat crashed in the middle of the canyon. But this was not like any HFY ship Jake had ever seen. The bugs built their ships like giant insects with sharp edges and dark metal. This ship looked smooth and beautiful, like it was made of liquid silver that had been frozen in time. "That's not a bug ship," Maria said quietly. She was the team's tech expert and knew alien ships better than anyone. "No kidding," Ben replied. He was always making jokes, but his voice was serious now. "So what is it?" Jake looked at the ship through his scope. Strange symbols glowed softly on its side. The metal seemed to shine with its own light, even though the sun was setting behind the canyon walls. "Orders were to avoid contact with any unknown aliens," Maria reminded them. "We should call it in and wait for backup." Jake lowered his rifle. Something felt wrong about that idea. The ship looked badly damaged. If there was someone inside, they might be hurt or dying. His training told him to follow orders, but his heart told him something else. "We check it out first," Jake decided. "If it's dangerous, we pull back and call for help. If someone needs help, we help them." The squad moved carefully toward the crashed ship. As they got closer, Jake could see that the strange symbols were not just glowing. They were pulsing like a heartbeat, but getting slower and weaker. They found an opening in the side of the ship where the metal had been torn apart in the crash. Jake went in first, his flashlight cutting through the darkness inside. The walls were covered with more of the glowing symbols, but many of them were dark now. In the center of the ship, they found her. She was lying on what looked like a bed, made of crystal. Jake had never seen anything like her before. Her skin was clear like glass, and he could see light moving through her body like blood made of starlight. She had long, flowing hair that seemed to be made of silver threads. Her face was beautiful, but alien, with large eyes that were closed now, but something was very wrong. Her clear skin was turning gray, starting from her hands and feet and spreading toward her heart. The light inside her body was getting dimmer and dimmer. "Is she alive?" Danny whispered. As if she heard him, her large eyes opened. They were the color of deep blue water, but full of pain. She looked at Jake and tried to speak, but only weak sounds came out. Jake noticed a small device near her head. It looked like some kind of translator. He picked it up carefully and the device began to glow. "Please," came a soft voice from the device. The alien woman was looking right at Jake. "I am dying. My people, we need help." "What's wrong with you?" Jake asked. He felt strange talking to an alien, but she seemed so human in her fear and pain. "Blood sickness," she said through the translator. "My name is Lorelei. I am princess of the Veltar people. The Grey Death is taking me. I will die soon." Maria stepped forward. "We have medical supplies, but I don't know if they will work on your biology." Lorelei shook her head weakly. "Your medicine cannot help. Only life force can stop the Grey Death. Only blood from a living being can save me now." "We can get you to our medical team," Ben suggested. "They have better equipment." "No, time," Lorelei said. Her voice was getting weaker. I must tell you something important. My people know of an ancient weapon. It can end your war with the HFY. But if I die, the knowledge dies with me. I am the last of my blood family. Jake looked at her gray, skin spreading closer to her heart. She was telling the truth about dying soon. He had seen enough death in the war to know when someone was close to the end. What do you need? Jake asked. Blood, she said simply. Life force from a willing being. It is the old way of my people, but it creates a bond, a connection between souls. I do not know what it will do to you. Maria grabbed Jake's arm. Sergeant, we don't know anything about her. This could be a trap. Jake looked at Lyra again. Her eyes held no lies, only hope and fear. Something deep inside him knew she was telling the truth. She was not an enemy. She was just someone who needed help. How do we do it? Jake asked. Lyra tried to smile. Place your hand on my heart. Let your blood touch mine. But know this. Once the bond is made, it cannot be broken. We will be connected always. Jake rolled up his sleeve and pulled out his combat knife. He made a small cut on his palm, just enough to draw blood. Then he placed his bleeding hand on Lyra's chest, right over her heart. The moment his blood touched her skin, everything changed. Light exploded through Jake's vision. He felt like he was falling through space and time. Images flashed through his mind, beautiful crystal cities, alien worlds covered in flowers, and people like Lyra living in peace and harmony. But he also felt her pain, her loneliness, and her desperate hope for her people. The gray on her skin began to fade away. Color returned to her body, and the light inside her began to glow brighter. Jake felt strange energy flowing between them, like electricity but warm and alive. When the light faded, Jake found himself on his knees beside the crystal bed. Lyra was sitting up, looking healthy and strong again. But Jake could feel something different inside himself. It was like there was another person in his head, but not in a bad way. It is done, Lyra said softly. You have saved my life, Jake Miller, but you have also changed both of our fates forever. Jake looked at his hand. The cut was healed, but there were small crystal patterns in his skin now, glowing faintly with the same light as Lyra's body. What happens now? He asked. Before Lyra could answer, Ben's radio crackled to life. All units, this is command. Unknown energy signature detected in your area. Investigate and report immediately. Jake looked at his squad. They were all staring at him with wide eyes. Maria's scanner was beeping like crazy. Sergeant, she said quietly, you're giving off the same energy readings as her ship. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Whatever he had just done, it was bigger than just saving one alien's life. And somehow, he knew their troubles were just beginning. Outside the ship, the wind began to howl through the canyon, carrying with it the distant sound of engines. Someone was coming, and Jake had a feeling. They were not coming to help. Jake felt dizzy as he stood up from beside Lyra's crystal bed. The alien princess was now glowing with soft light, her skin clear and beautiful again. But something strange was happening to Jake. He could feel her thoughts at the edge of his mind, like whispers in another room. The bond is forming, Lyra said, standing gracefully. You will see things now, things from my people's past. Before Jake could ask what she meant, his vision filled with amazing sights. He saw cities made, entirely of crystal reaching up into purple skies. He watched beings like Lyrelay flying through the air using wings made of pure light. He saw vast gardens on alien worlds where flowers sang beautiful songs. But then the visions turned dark. He saw the crystal cities cracking and falling. He watched as the Veltar people grew sick and began to fade away one by one. He felt their sadness as their race slowly died out over thousands of years. "What is that?" Jake gasped, holding his head as the visions faded. "The history of my people," Lyrelay explained. "We were once great builders and healers. We could bring life to dead worlds with our technology. But we grew too peaceful, too weak. When the galaxy became violent, we could not defend ourselves." Maria was scanning both of them with her equipment. "Sergeant, your life signs are completely different now, and there's some kind of energy field connecting you two." "The Harmony Engine," Lyrelay continued, ignoring Maria. "It is our greatest creation, a machine that can heal entire planets and make them green and alive again. But it was hidden when my people saw how others might use it for war." Jake felt another flash of knowledge enter his mind. He suddenly understood things about the Harmony engine that Lyrelay had not spoken aloud. The machine was not just a tool, it was alive in some way. It needed someone to guide it, to tell it what to heal and what to leave alone. "Where is this machine?" Ben asked. He was keeping watch at the ship's entrance, but Jake could tell he was listening carefully. "Hidden on the moon of this planet," Lyrelay said. "In the old archives where the last of my people wait in crystal sleep." Danny's radio started making noise. "Sergeant Miller, report your status immediately. We're showing massive energy readings from your location." Jake looked at his squad. They were all good soldiers and trusted him, but this was way beyond anything they had trained for. He was about to answer the radio when Lyrelay grabbed his arm. "Wait," she said urgently. "I can feel something through our bond. Danger is coming, from 2 directions." Jake felt it too now. Through their strange connection, he could sense movement in the sky above them. Ships were coming, lots of them. But these were not friendly ships coming to help. "Your people and mine," Lyrelay said, with fear in her voice. "They both felt the energy when we bonded. They're coming to capture us." "All units, this is Captain Ryan Torres of the Fleet Command Ship," came a new voice over the radio. "Marine unit on planet surface, you are ordered to secure any alien technology and eliminate any threats. A retrieval team is being sent to your location." Jake's blood went cold. Captain Torres was known for following orders exactly, no matter what. If he had been told to eliminate threats, that meant he might try to kill Lyrelay. "There's more," Lyrelay said, her eyes wide with fear. "The Kethai felt our bonding too. Their hive mind is sending warriors to capture what they think is a new weapon." Jake felt her fear through their connection, but he also felt something else: hope. She believed that their bond might be the key to something important. "Tell me about this Harmony engine," Jake said quickly. "Why is it so important?" More knowledge flowed into Jake's mind through their bond. He saw how the machine worked. It needed 2 kinds of energy to function safely. The Veltar provided harmony and balance, while others could provide creativity and change. The machine had been hidden because no other race had both qualities. "Humans," Jake said with sudden understanding. "You need humans to help you use it." "Yes," Lyrelay said, surprised that he understood so quickly. "Your people adapt and change quickly. My people bring peace and balance. Together we might be able to use the Harmony engine to heal the damage this war has caused." But Jake was also learning about the cost. Using the machine required someone to merge with it permanently, to become part of it forever. The old Veltar record showed that whoever controlled the Harmony engine would never be able to live a normal life again. "Sergeant, we've got incoming ships," Ben called from outside. "Both human and bug ships. They'll be here in minutes." Jake felt panic start to rise. But then something strange happened. Through his bond with Lirelai, he felt her calmness flow into him. At the same time, she seemed to gain some of his human determination and fighting spirit. "We need to get to the archives," Jake decided. "Can this ship still fly?" Lirelai placed her hands on the crystal controls and closed her eyes. Jake felt her mind touch the ship's systems through their bond. "Yes, but barely, and both fleets will be able to track us." "Then we fight our way out," Maria said, checking her weapons. "We've done harder things." But Jake was feeling something new through his connection with Lirelai. Her people had been peaceful for so long that she had never learned to fight. But now, through their bond, she was learning about human courage and determination. At the same time, Jake was gaining her ability to sense life energy and understand alien technology. "There's something else," Lirelai said softly. "The bonding process is not finished. You're still changing, Jake Miller. I can feel your life force mixing with mine." Jake looked at his hands. The crystal patterns in his skin were spreading slowly up his arms. They did not hurt, but they felt warm and alive. "What will happen to me?" "I don't know," Lirelai admitted. "This has never been done before. A human has never bonded with one of my people. You might become something new. Something between human and Veltar." The sound of engines was getting louder outside. Jake could hear Ben talking urgently into his radio, trying to delay the incoming ships. "Sergeant Torres is demanding immediate surrender," Ben reported. "And the bug ships are setting up some kind of scanning pattern." Jake felt Lirelai's fear spike again, but also her growing hope. Through their bond, he could sense that she was starting to believe they might actually succeed in reaching the Harmony engine. "There's someone else who can help us," she said suddenly. "In the archives, a young engineer named Kaya. She's been working on modifications to the Harmony engine." "What kind of modifications?" Jake asked. "Ways to use it without the permanent sacrifice," Lirelai said with excitement. "She believes that with the right energy source, the machine could be operated safely." Jake felt a surge of hope. If they could reach this Kaya person and figure out how to use the Harmony engine safely, they might be able to end the war without anyone having to die. But first, they had to survive the next few hours. "Everyone get on board," Jake ordered his squad. "We're taking this ship to the moon." "Sir, with respect, this is completely against orders," Maria said. Jake looked at each of his squad members. These people had followed him through 3 years of war. They trusted him with their lives. Now he was asking them to trust him with something much bigger. "I know," Jake said, "but I think we have a chance to end this war. Not just win it, end it completely. Are you with me?" Danny was the first to nod. "If you think it's right, Sergeant, then I'm in." Ben grinned and shouldered his rifle. "Been following you this long. Why stop now?" Maria looked uncertain for a moment, then sighed. "Well, someone has to keep you idiots alive." As they all climbed aboard the silver ship, Jake felt Lirelai's gratitude through their bond. But he also felt something else, the beginning of deeper feelings that were growing between them despite the fact that they were completely different species. The ship lifted off just as the first human dropships appeared over the canyon walls. Jake could see Captain Torres's command ship in the distance, and beyond that, the dark shapes of Keth-High vessels moving in for attack. "Hold on," Lyra Lay said as her hands danced over the crystal controls. "This is going to be a rough flight." As they shot up toward the moon, Jake felt his connection with Lyra Lay grow stronger. He was changing, becoming something new. And somewhere deep in their shared thoughts, he began to hope that their bond might be the key to saving not just themselves, but everyone. The silver ship shook as laser blasts from human fighters streaked past them. Jake held on tight as Lorelei piloted them toward the small moon hanging in the purple sky above. Through their bond, he could feel her concentration as she tried to avoid the incoming fire. "More ships coming in fast," Ben called out, looking through the ship's viewing port. "Looks like both sides really want us." Jake felt a strange sensation through his connection with Lyra Lay. He could sense the life energy of everyone around them, his squad members, the pilots in the attacking ships, even the strange alien creatures on the moon ahead. It was like having a new sense that he never knew existed. "There," Lyra Lay said, pointing to a valley on the moon's surface. "The entrance to the archives is hidden there." But as they got closer, Jake felt something wrong. Through their bond, he sensed familiar life energy patterns from the ships following them. One of them felt like someone he knew. "That's not just any pilot back there," Jake said with a sick feeling in his stomach. "That's Lisa Stone." Maria looked surprised. "Corporal Stone? From our old unit?" Jake nodded. Lisa had been his best friend before she got promoted and transferred to the elite hunting squads. Now she was probably under orders to bring him back dead or alive. Their ship touched down hard in the valley, sending up clouds of dust. Jake could see ancient Veltar buildings carved into the moon's rocky walls. They looked like they had been there for thousands of years. "The archives are deep underground," Lyra Lay explained as they ran from the ship. "But we're not alone here." Jake felt what she meant through their bond. There were other life forms in the archives, some Veltar like Lorelei, and at least one human. They found the entrance just as the first human dropship landed behind them. Jake heard familiar voices shouting orders. Captain Torres had sent a full squad to capture them. "Jake Miller!" Lisa Stone's voice echoed across the valley. "Come out now and nobody gets hurt. You're in way over your head here." Jake felt torn. Lisa was his friend, but he also felt Lorelai's fear through their bond. The princess was terrified of what the humans might do to her if they were captured. They ran deeper into the ancient tunnels. The walls were covered with glowing Veltar, symbols that seemed to react to Lyra Lay's presence. Jake's crystal skin patterns were glowing brighter, too, giving them extra light to see by. "This way," Lyra Lay said, leading them through a maze of tunnels. "The main archive is not far." But they were not the only ones hunting through the tunnels. Jake could feel Keth-High warriors somewhere above them, using their own tunnels to search for the same thing they were looking for. After 10 minutes of running, they reached a huge underground chamber. The walls were lined with crystal containers, each one holding a sleeping Veltar. In the center of the room, a human man was working at a computer terminal next to a young Veltar woman. "Dr. Alex Chen," Maria said with surprise. "What are you doing here?" Jake knew Alex from the research bases. He was a scientist who studied alien technology and cultures. But what was he doing in a secret Veltar archive? "Long story," Alex said, quickly. "But right now, we have bigger problems." "This is Kaya." And she's been working on something that could change everything. Kaya looked like a younger version of Lyra Lai, with the same clear skin and glowing inner light. But she seemed more energetic and excited than the princess. "You're the bonded pair," Kaya said, studying Jake and Lyralay with wonder. "I can see the energy connection between you. This is amazing." "What have you been working on?" Lyralay asked. Kaya led them to a wall covered with complex diagrams and calculations. "Modifications to the Harmony engine. I think I've figured out how to use it without the permanent sacrifice." Jake felt hope surge through their bond as Lyralay understood what Kaya was showing them. The young engineer had found a way to power the machine using the bond between different species instead of one person giving up their life. "But we need to get to the engine first," Alex said urgently, "and it sounds like we have company." Heavy footsteps echoed through the tunnels above them. The HFY had found a way into the archives. At the same time, Jake could hear human voices getting closer from the entrance they had used. "There's another way to the engine chamber," Kaya said, "through the deep tunnels. But it's dangerous." "More dangerous than being caught by two armies?" Ben asked with a grin. As they prepared to leave, Jake felt something disturbing through his bond with Lyralay. His transformation was speeding up. The crystal patterns were spreading faster across his skin, and he was starting to feel weak. "What's happening to me?" he asked Lyralay quietly. Her mental voice was full of worry. "Your human body is not designed to handle Veltar energy for long periods. The bond is changing you faster than I expected." "How long do I have?" "I don't know, maybe days, maybe hours." Jake felt fear, but it was mixed with determination. If he was going to die from this transformation, he wanted to make sure it counted for something. They entered the deep tunnels just as explosions echoed from the main chamber behind them. The HFY had arrived and were fighting with Captain Torres's soldiers. In the confusion, Jake hoped they could reach the Harmony engine without being detected. The deep tunnels were different from the upper archives. These felt older and more dangerous. The walls seemed to pulse with ancient energy, and Jake could hear strange sounds echoing from side passages. "My people built guardians here," Kaya explained as they walked. "Automated defenses to protect the Harmony engine. They should still work." "Should?" Danny asked nervously. "Well, they're thousands of years old," Kaya admitted. As they moved deeper, Jake felt his connection with Lyralay growing stronger. He could now hear her thoughts clearly, and she could hear his. It was like having someone else living in his head, but it felt natural and comforting. At the same time, Jake was developing new abilities. He could sense the life energy of creatures moving through the moon's tunnels far above and below them. He could feel the ancient power of the Harmony engine calling to him from somewhere ahead. But he could also feel that Lisa Stone was getting closer. Through his enhanced senses, he knew she was tracking them with some kind of energy detector. "We're being followed," Jake told the group. "Lisa found our trail." There, Kaya pointed to a massive door covered in Veltar symbols. "The engine chamber is beyond that door, but it requires both human and Veltar life energy to open." Jake and Lyralay approached the door together. When they placed their hands on the symbols, the massive portal began to glow and slowly swing open. Beyond the door was a chamber that took Jake's breath away. In the center stood the Harmony engine, a tower of crystal and metal that reached up into darkness above. It pulsed with slow, steady light like a giant heartbeat. But Jake could feel something wrong with it. The machine was sick, damaged by thousands of years of neglect, and it was hungry for the energy that only a bonded pair could provide. It's beautiful, Lirale whispered through their mental connection. And dangerous, Alex added, scanning the machine with his equipment. The power levels here are incredible. Before they could approach the engine, laser fire erupted from the tunnel behind them. Lisa Stone and her squad had caught up. "Stand down, Jake," Lisa shouted. "That machine is too dangerous. Our orders are to destroy it if we can't capture it." Jake felt Lirale's panic through their bond. If the humans destroyed the Harmony engine, her people's last hope would die with it. But then Jake felt something else through their connection. Lirale was learning human courage and stubbornness from him. For the first time in her life, she was ready to fight for what she believed in. "No," Lirale said, stepping forward. "This machine can heal the galaxy, end the wars, bring life back to dead worlds." "It's also a weapon," Lisa replied, keeping her rifle trained on them. "Command thinks you've been brainwashed by alien technology." Jake felt his crystal patterns pulse brighter as anger flowed through him. "I haven't been brainwashed. I've been awakened." Through their bond, he and Lirale shared their memories and feelings with each other. Jake showed her human determination and the will to fight for what's right. Lirale showed him Veltar wisdom and the dream of a peaceful galaxy. But Jake could feel his human body starting to fail. The transformation was happening too fast. If they were going to save the galaxy, they needed to act soon. "Kaya," he called to the young engineer. "How do we modify the engine?" "I need time to install the new programming," she said, already running toward the machine. "But with all these soldiers here..." More explosions echoed from the tunnels. The HFY had found another way into the deep chambers and were getting closer. Jake made a decision that would change everything. He reached out through his bond with Lirale and then extended that connection to everyone in the chamber. His squad, Alex, Kaya, even Lisa and her soldiers. For just a moment, everyone could feel what Jake and Lirale felt. They experienced the bond between human determination and Veltar wisdom. They felt the possibility of ending the war not through victory, but through understanding. "Incredible," Lisa whispered, lowering her weapon. I felt what peace could be like." But the moment was broken by the sound of HFY warriors breaking through the chamber walls. The final battle for the Harmony engine was about to begin. The HFY warriors burst through the chamber walls like giant insects made of living armor. Their claws sparked against the ancient stone as they poured into the Harmony engine chamber. Jake counted at least 20 of them, each one the size of a small vehicle. But something was wrong. Through his bond with Lirale, Jake could sense that these warriors were confused and angry, not naturally hostile. They felt like soldiers who had been lied to about their mission. "Wait!" Jake shouted, holding up his hand as both human and HFY forces prepared to fight. "Something's not right here." Lisa Stone kept her weapon ready, but looked at Jake with confusion. "What do you mean?" Through his enhanced senses, Jake was feeling the emotions of the HFY warriors. They were not evil creatures bent on destruction. They were confused and frightened, following orders they did not fully understand. "Kaya," Jake called to the young Veltar engineer, "can you access the archive's historical records? I need to know more about how this war started." Kaya's hands flew over the crystal controls near the Harmony engine. Ancient symbols appeared in the air above them, showing holographic images of events from the past. What they saw made everyone in the chamber stop fighting. The images showed human ships attacking HFY colonies, but the ships had false markings. They looked like HFY vessels attacking human outposts, but Jake could see they were actually human ships in disguise. "False flag operations," Alex whispered, studying the holograms. "Someone has been making both sides attack each other." More images appeared, showing secret meetings between human military leaders. Jake recognized some of the faces from news broadcasts. These were high-ranking officers in the human fleet. "General Patricia Hayes," Lisa said with shock. "She's been leading the peace negotiations with the HFY, but the archive records showed a different truth. General Hayes was not trying to make peace. She was the one organizing the fake attacks that kept the war going." "Why would she do this?" Danny asked. The answer came in the next set of holographic records. General Hayes and her supporters wanted the war to continue so they could capture Veltar technology. They planned to use ancient alien machines to give Earth an advantage over all other species in the galaxy. "She's been using both our people and the HFY," Jake realized, "keeping us fighting each other while she steals Veltar secrets." Through his bond with Lyrelay, Jake felt her deep sadness. Her people had been caught in the middle of a war that was based on lies and greed. But then Jake sensed something else. The HFY warriors in the chamber were beginning to understand the truth too. Their species had a kind of shared mind that let them communicate without words. The warrior leader, a massive creature with scars across his armored face, stepped forward. "We have been deceived," the warrior said in broken human words. His voice sounded like grinding metal, but Jake could feel the honesty in it. "Your name?" Jake asked. "Commander Zexthul," the warrior replied. "We came to capture weapon, but weapon is not weapon, is healing machine." Lyrelay stepped forward cautiously. Through their bond, Jake felt her trying to extend their connection, to include the HFY commander. It was risky. No one knew if the bonding energy would work on the insect-like aliens. But when Lyrelay's hand touched Commander Zexthul's armored claw, something amazing happened. The HFY warrior's large compound eyes widened, and for the first time he felt emotions the way humans and Veltar did. "Peace," Zexthul whispered in wonder. "I feel peace. Is this what you call hope?" Jake felt the connection expanding. Through Lyrelay's abilities and his own changing nature, they were creating a bridge between all three species. For a few moments, everyone in the chamber could feel what the others felt. The human soldiers felt the HFY's natural desire to protect their hive and young. The HFY felt human creativity and the drive to explore. Everyone felt the Veltar. "Wisdom and love of harmony. This is what the galaxy could be," Lyrelay said softly. "All species working together instead of fighting." But their moment of unity was broken by the sound of more ships landing outside the archives. Through his enhanced hearing, Jake could hear Captain Torres talking to someone on his radio. "Yes, General Hayes, we have located the alien technology. Preparing to secure it now." Jake felt sick as the truth became clear. Captain Torres was not here to rescue them. He was working for General Hayes and her conspiracy. "We have to stop them," Jake said. "If they get control of the Harmony engine, they'll use it as a weapon." But Jake could feel his human body failing. The crystal patterns had spread across most of his skin now, and his life energy was burning too bright. Lyrelay's worry flowed through their bond like cold water. "The transformation is killing you," she said through their mental connection. "Your body cannot handle much more Veltar energy." Kaya looked up from the engine controls where she had been working frantically. "I've almost finished installing the modifications, but I need more time." "How much time?" Alex asked. At least an hour to properly calibrate the new systems. Jake felt despair creep in. They did not have an hour. Captain Torres and his forces would break through the chamber doors long before then. But then Commander Zex Thul made a surprising decision. "My warriors will hold the tunnels," he announced. "We will not let the deceiver humans reach this place." "You'll fight your own allies?" Lisa asked with surprise. "They are not allies," Zex Thul replied. "Allies do not lie. Allies do not use others for selfish gain." Jake felt a surge of hope, but it was mixed with growing weakness. Through their bond, he could feel Leirali trying to share her life energy with him to keep him alive longer. "There's something else," Alex said, studying readings from his scanner. "The Archive's AI system is still active. It contains the preserved consciousness of the last Veltar scientists." "Can we talk to them?" Jake asked. Kaya activated another set of controls, and a new hologram appeared. This one showed an elderly Veltar with wise, ancient eyes. "I am Elder Thane," the hologram said. "I have been waiting for someone like you, bonded one. Someone who bridges the gap between species." "We need help," Jake said. "I'm dying from the bonding energy, and we're running out of time." Elder Thane studied Jake with interest. "You are changing faster than expected because you are fighting the transformation. Stop resisting it. Let yourself become what you are. Meant to be." "What am I meant to be?" "Something new," Elder Thane replied. "Neither fully human nor fully Veltar, but a bridge between worlds. But the transformation requires trust. You must trust in your bond with Princess Lyralai completely." Jake felt Lyralai's encouragement through their connection. She was offering to share the risk of the transformation with him. If they synchronized their bonding completely, they might both survive, but they would be forever changed. "There is another option," Elder Thane continued. "If you and the princess can achieve perfect synchronization, you might be able to operate the Harmony engine together without either of you dying. But the process would fuse your consciousness permanently." Jake felt Lyralai's immediate response through their bond. She was willing to take that risk, to become something new with him, if it meant saving both their peoples. But before Jake could answer, explosions rocked the chamber. Captain Torres had brought heavy weapons to break through the ancient doors. "Decide quickly," Elder Thane urged. "The Deceiver General's forces will be here soon." Jake looked at Lyralai, feeling her love and determination through their bond. He looked at his squad who had followed him this far despite everything. He looked at Commander Zex Thul, who was willing to fight his former allies for the truth. "We do it," Jake decided. "We synchronize completely and try to operate the engine. Together." "The risk is enormous," Elder Thane warned. "You might lose your individual selves entirely." Jake felt Lyralai's hand slip into his. Through their bond, he felt her complete trust in him. "Some things are worth the risk," Jake said. As they prepared for the final synchronization, Jake heard Captain Torres's voice echoing through the tunnels. "General Hayes is almost here. She wants to see this alien technology for herself." Jake smiled grimly. General Hayes was about to get more than she bargained, for the real battle for the future of the galaxy was about to begin. Jake and Lyralai stood before the Harmony engine, their hands joined as crystal light flowed between them. The massive machine pulsed with ancient power, waiting for someone worthy to guide it. Around them, the chamber filled with tension as 3 different armies prepared for the final confrontation. "Begin the synchronization," Elder Thane's hologram urged. "But remember, once you start, there is no going back." Jake felt Lyralay's mind opening completely to his. All her memories, all her feelings, all her hopes and fears flowed into him like a warm river. At the same time, he opened his heart to her, sharing everything that made him human. The crystal patterns on Jake's skin blazed with light as his transformation completed itself. But instead of destroying his human nature, the Veltar energy merged with it, creating something entirely new. Through their joined consciousness, Jake and Lirelai reached out to touch the Harmony Engine's ancient mind. The machine had been waiting for thousands of years for someone who could guide it properly. It welcomed them like an old friend greeting beloved children. Suddenly, Jake could feel every living thing on the moon, on the planet below, and in the ships surrounding them. The Harmony Engine showed him how damaged the galaxy had become. Worlds turned to ash by war, species driven extinct by hatred, entire solar systems stripped of life. But it also showed him how things could be healed. Now, Lirelai whispered, through their shared thoughts. Show them what we see. Instead of using the Harmony Engine to destroy or dominate, Jake and Lirelai did something that had never been attempted before. They used their merged consciousness to broadcast their shared experience to every mind within range. Captain Torres was the first to feel it. As he prepared to break into the chamber, his mind was suddenly filled with Jake's memories of friendship, loyalty, and the desire to protect the innocent. But he also felt Lirelai's ancient wisdom and her people's dream of a peaceful galaxy. "What? What is this?" Torres whispered, lowering his weapon as he felt emotions he had never experienced before. The effect spread rapidly. Every human soldier felt what it was like to be Veltar, to value harmony and life above conquest. Every HFY warrior experienced human creativity and the joy of discovery. For the first time, all three species truly understood each other. General Hayes arrived just as the wave of shared consciousness reached its peak. She stormed into the chamber with her elite guards, expecting to find an alien weapon she could claim for Earth's glory. Instead, she found something that terrified her more than any weapon: the truth. Through Jake and Lirelai's broadcast, everyone could see General Hayes's memories. Her secret meetings, her false flag operations, her plans to use alien technology to dominate the galaxy. The lies that had started the war were exposed for all to see. "Impossible," Hayes gasped as her own soldiers turned to stare at her with horror. "This is alien mind control. Don't listen to it." But Commander Zexthul stepped forward, his massive form blocking Hayes's path to the Harmony Engine. Through the shared consciousness, the HFY commander could feel human emotions for the first time. He understood now that his people had been manipulated. "You made us kill innocents," Zexthul said to Hayes, his voice filled with a sadness that shook the chamber. "You made us believe humans were our enemies when the real enemy was you." Captain Torres removed his sidearm and pointed it at General Hayes. "You're under arrest for war crimes and treason." But Hayes was not finished. She pulled out a detonator and smiled coldly. "If I can't have this technology, no one can. I've planted explosives throughout the moon. In 30 seconds, this entire place will be destroyed." Jake felt panic through his bond with Lirelai, but then he felt something else: the full power of the Harmony Engine responding to their synchronized will. "No," Jake said calmly. "You won't destroy anything ever again." Through their connection to the machine, Jake and Lirelai reached out to every explosive device Hayes had planted. The Harmony engine's power flowed through the moon's crystal formations, neutralizing each bomb by converting the explosive energy into harmless light. Hayes's detonator clicked uselessly in her hand, but Jake and Lyrelei were not done. The Harmony engine had shown them the scope of the damage that years of war had caused. Dead worlds, broken families, entire species on the edge of extinction. "It's time to heal," Lyrelei said through their shared voice. The Harmony engine's power expanded beyond the moon, reaching out to touch every world that had been damaged by the war. On planet Zephyria below, dead soil began to bloom with new life. Poisoned rivers ran clear again. The very air became fresh and clean, but more importantly, the machine was healing the damage to the hearts and minds of the three species. Humans began to understand that conquest was not the path to greatness. The HFY learned that cooperation was stronger than domination. The few surviving Veltar felt hope for the first time in millennia. Jake felt his individual consciousness, merging more completely with Lyrelei's, but instead of losing himself, he felt more alive than ever before. They were becoming something new, a bridge between worlds that could help guide the galaxy toward peace. "The war is over," Captain Torres announced, speaking into his communicator. "All units stand down immediately. We have a lot to figure out." General Hayes looked around the chamber with defeat in her eyes. Her soldiers had abandoned her, her plans were ruined, and the truth of her crimes was known to everyone. "You've doomed humanity," she said bitterly to Jake. "We could have ruled the galaxy." Jake looked at her with eyes that now glowed with inner light. "We never wanted to rule anything. We just wanted to live free and help others do the same." As the immediate crisis ended, Jake felt the changes in himself stabilizing. He was still recognizably human, but the crystal patterns in his skin marked him as something more. Lyrelei remained herself as well, but her ancient Veltar wisdom was now balanced with human passion and determination. They had become the first of a new kind of being, living bridges between species who could help others understand each other. "What happens now?" Lisa Stone asked, looking around the chamber with wonder. Kaya stepped forward, her young face bright with excitement. "Now we begin the real work. The Harmony engine can restore damaged worlds, but more importantly, it has created a network that lets different species communicate and understand each other." Jake felt the truth of this through his connection to the machine. All across the galaxy, representatives of different species were beginning to reach out to each other, guided by the understanding that the Harmony engine had shared. "We'll need ambassadors," Alex said thoughtfully. "People who can help different species work together." Jake looked at Lyrelei and felt her agreement through their bond. "I think we know where to start." 6 months later, Jake and Lyrelei stood on the observation deck of the first interspecies colony ship. Through the viewing port they could see a new world being born. A planet where humans, Veltar, and reformed HFY worked together to build something beautiful. Jake still looked mostly human, but the crystal patterns in his skin pulsed gently with life energy. Lyrelei had learned to laugh like a human while keeping her Veltar grace. Their love had become a symbol of what was possible when different beings chose understanding over fear. "Do you ever regret it?" Lyrelei asked through their mental link. "Giving up your old life to become something new?" Jake smiled and took her hand. "Every choice has a cost, but some things are worth any price." Through their bond, they could feel the Harmony engine's network spreading across the galaxy. Species that had never met were learning to communicate. Dead worlds were blooming with new life. The age of endless war was ending. They had become something beyond belief. Proof that love and understanding could transcend any boundary, even the gap between species. And in a galaxy that had almost destroyed itself through hatred and fear, they were helping to build something better. Together, they watched the sun rise over their new world, knowing that the future held challenges they could not yet imagine. But they also knew they would face those challenges together, as partners, as bridges between worlds, and as symbols of hope for a galaxy learning to heal itself. The war was over. The age of harmony had begun, and at the center of it all, a human. Warrior and an alien princess had found something that transcended both their natures, a love that could change the fate of stars.